displayed like an object. The twin suns of Grelic 7 were burning hot that day. The marketplace buzzed with alien voices, strange smells, and the sound of heavy boots on metal floors. Creatures from across the galaxy gathered to trade goods, food, weapons, and even slaves. Nyala stood at the edge of the market square, chained to a metal post like an animal. Her wrists were bruised, her clothes torn, and her body weak from hunger. She had not eaten properly in days. Her long silver hair was messy, covering part of her pale face. She kept her eyes low. Looking into someone's eyes invited trouble. She was not the only slave, but she was the only one who looked so young and broken. The others had stopped hoping. Nyala still had a small flame inside her, a tiny wish for someone to care. A tall, green-skinned trader yelled at passing aliens. "Strong girl, still useful. No diseases, look at her, only 400 credits. An alien with tentacles sneered. "Too thin. She won't last a week." Another laughed. "Maybe someone will buy her for experiments." Someone threw a half-eaten fruit at her. It hit her arm and rolled away. Nyla didn't flinch. She was used to this. To them, she was nothing, just property, a thing to own, a tool to use. But then, he arrived, a human. He looked completely out of place in the alien crowd. Tall, broad-shouldered, with a weathered face and short black beard. His clothes were simple, old but clean. A tool belt hung at his waist. He walked slowly, eyes scanning the slaves with a quiet intensity. The trader noticed him and quickly moved in. "Ah, human. Good buyer. Strong taste, yes? This one is pretty. Cheap, too. Take her." Nyala raised her head just a little, just enough to see his face. He wasn't like the others. His eyes didn't burn with cruelty. They didn't shine with desire. Instead, they were calm and tired. Tired like someone who had seen too much war, too much pain. He looked at her for a long time. She couldn't read his thoughts. "Yours?" he asked the trader. "Yes, good deal. Take her now. No problems." He stepped closer. Nyala wanted to pull back, but the chain didn't allow her. She waited for the usual questions. "How much for one night? Or does she scream?" But he only said 4 words. "I'll take this one." Neela's heart sank. She had heard the stories. Humans were clever, dangerous, and full of secrets. Some were kind. Most weren't. This one looked serious. Maybe he was a torturer. Maybe he liked to make girls scream slowly. The trader grinned wide and unchained her. "She's yours now, human." The man didn't touch her. He simply turned and said, "Follow me." With shaky legs, Nyla followed him out of the market. She expected him to put her in a cage or tie her down, but he didn't. His ship was small but clean. It sat on the edge of the port, far from the noisy crowd. When the ramp opened, he stepped inside and motioned her to follow. She stepped in, slowly. The air inside was cool. There was no smell of blood, no chains on the walls, no dark cages. Just a small living area, a worn-out chair, and a folded blanket on a simple bed. He walked to a cabinet, took out a silver packet, and handed it to her. "Food, eat it slow." Nyala didn't move. He sighed. "I'm not going to hurt you." She took the packet, her hands trembling. She opened it and smelled warm soup. Her stomach growled. Still, she didn't sit. She waited. Waited for the order. Waited for the pain. But the man walked away, sat down, opened a small book and began to read. Silence. Minutes passed, then hours. He didn't touch her, didn't even look at her. It confused her. When night came, he unfolded the blanket on the bed and said, "You can sleep there." She shook her head. "Where do I sleep?" He looked at her and replied, "That's your bed now." She didn't move for a long time. Later that night, she sat in the corner, hugging her knees, the food packet now empty. Her eyes didn't close. Why? Was he being kind? What did he really want? She didn't know it yet. But this human was unlike anyone she had ever met. He hadn't bought a slave. He had rescued a soul. Nyala didn't sleep that night. She sat curled up in the corner of the small ship, her eyes fixed on the human. He had given her food, a bed, and silence. That was the strangest part. The silence. No orders, no threats, no questions. He sat in his old chair, reading a real paper book, something ancient and worn. A light buzzed softly above his head. Outside the window, stars moved slowly in the black sky. The engine hummed in the background like a quiet whisper. Nyala watched his face. He had scars, tiny ones near his temple, another along his neck. His skin was weathered like old leather. His eyes were the calmest she had ever seen. But calm didn't mean safe. Calm could be dangerous. Very dangerous. In her old life, silence came before pain, so she stayed awake, waiting for the moment his mask would drop. When he would grab her, chain her, laugh at her screams. But the moment never came. At some point, he looked up and met her. Eyes, she froze. "You don't have to stay in the corner," he said. His voice was low and rough, but not cruel. "You're not a prisoner anymore." She didn't believe him. No slave was ever truly free. Freedom was a trick, a lie to break your spirit before they broke your body. She said nothing. He nodded slowly, as if he understood. He stood up, walked to the other side of the room, and pulled out a folded sheet. He placed it on the floor and lay down there himself. The bed, he had given it to her. Still, she couldn't bring herself to touch it. She stayed in the corner all night, staring at him, watching, waiting. When morning came, he was already awake, sipping something warm from a metal cup. He didn't say anything, just looked at her, then turned back to the ship's console. "Where are we going?" she finally whispered, unsure if she was even allowed to speak. He didn't look back. Somewhere safe. Nyala's hands tightened around her knees. "You could sell me again, for more credits." "I could," he replied, calm as ever. "Then why don't you?" He looked over his shoulder, his eyes soft but serious. "Because I'm not that kind of man." She didn't know what to say. No one had ever answered her like that, not even once. Later that day, he gave her fresh clothes, not slave rags, real clothes. A simple tunic, soft to the touch. She held it like it was made of gold. "I found these on a trade station," he said. "Thought they'd fit you." "Why?" she asked again. "Why are you helping me?" He hesitated, then looked her straight in the eyes. "Because someone should have helped my daughter, but no one did." Her heart skipped. She didn't ask more. That night, she finally sat on the bed. She didn't lie down yet, but she sat. She ate the food he gave her. She drank the water. She even watched the stars through the window for a while, and still. He didn't touch her. The next day, he handed her a cloth and a data pad. "I need help fixing this," he said. Her eyes widened. "Me?" "Yeah," he said casually. "You've got steady hands." No one had ever said that before. Her hands had always been tied, not trusted. She worked quietly while he repaired a circuit board. Every once in a while, he looked over and nodded, not speaking, just acknowledging her. He wasn't trying to own her. He was trying to include her. Nyala felt something strange inside her chest. Not fear, not pain. It was a small, warm flicker. Hope. That night, as the stars drifted past the ship's window, she finally lay on the bed. She didn't sleep much, but she closed her eyes, and in the stillness she heard something new. She heard peace. The third day on the ship began with silence, soft, calm, and almost warm. Nyala woke up slowly, not from fear, but from the gentle rhythm of the engine. She opened her eyes and realized something strange. She had slept. Really slept. Not with one eye open, not waiting for pain. She sat up on the small bed and looked around. The human, Marcus, She had heard the traitor call. Him that was already up. He was wiping grease from his hands, working on something under a panel near the floor. His tool buzzed quietly. He noticed her watching but didn't say anything. Just gave her a short nod, like she was part of the ship now. Like she belonged here. She still didn't understand him. He had bought her. That part was clear. But he hadn't touched her, hurt her, or locked her away. He treated her, not like a slave, not even like a stranger. He treated her like a person. That was harder to believe than any lie. She stood slowly, still testing her place in this new world. Do you need help? Marcus sat back on his heels. Yeah, hand me the wrench on the table. She picked it up and passed it to him. Their fingers brushed for a second. She flinched, but he didn't grab her. Didn't even look at her weirdly. He just kept working, like her flinch didn't matter, like he understood without asking. A few minutes passed in quiet work. Then he spoke again. You never told me your name. Nyala froze. Her hand was mid-air, holding a cable. Her eyes blinked slowly. She whispered, Why does it matter? He looked up at her, oil on his cheek, eyes steady. Because I don't call people by numbers. She looked down at her wrist, where the old brand still faintly glowed. Unit 47B, that's what she had been for years. No one had ever asked her name, not once. She swallowed hard. Her voice cracked. Nyala. Marcus nodded. Nice to meet you, Nyala. She stared at him. Just like that? No laughter? No mocking? No demand to kneel and repeat it back? He wiped his hands on a rag and sat down on the floor, legs crossed. I'm Marcus. Used to be a field engineer. Back on Earth, I fixed broken machines. After the war, I fixed broken people. Why did you come here? She asked, sitting slowly across from him. He looked at the stars outside. Because I couldn't save my daughter. She was taken during the siege of Antares Prime, sold, traded just like you. Her breath caught in her throat. I looked everywhere, he continued, for years, never found her. But I saw you and something in my heart just said, don't walk away this time. Nyala didn't know what to say. The words sat heavy in the air. Her fingers brushed the old brand again, she whispered. Sometimes I forgot I had a name. Marcus's voice was soft. You do. And now you get to keep it. She looked up and for the first time in her life, someone truly saw her. Not a thing, not a product, not a slave. Just a girl with a name. Later, while Marcus cooked something on the small stove, Nyla found a mirror in the corner of the room. It was dusty, cracked on one edge. She stared into it. Her hair was a mess. Her cheeks were hollow. But behind the dirt and tired eyes, she saw something she hadn't seen in years. Herself. Not 47B. Not property. Nyala. She gently touched the mirror, like she was meeting someone for the first time. That night, as the stars passed by the window, she spoke without fear. Marcus? Yeah? Thank you for asking my name. He didn't reply right away, but then he said the one thing that made her chest feel full for the first time in years. You're welcome, Nyala. And with that, she smiled. A small smile, but real. The days were quiet on the ship. No shouting, no pain, no fear. Nyala was still learning how to breathe without trembling. Every morning she would sit near the window, watching stars move slowly through the black sky. Sometimes Marcus would bring her warm tea. Sometimes he just gave her space. She liked that. He never forced her to talk, but when she spoke, he listened. Really listened. They started fixing things together. Small machines, broken panels, wiring that sparked Nyala's hands, once used only to scrub, carry, and obey, were now repairing circuits and holding tools. She was still afraid sometimes. Fear didn't vanish in a day, but something was changing inside her, like a cold wind, slowly turning warm. Then one strange evening, something happened she didn't expect. Marcus was trying to fix a loose valve in the water system. He climbed onto a crate to reach it but slipped. In slow motion, Nyla saw it happen. The crate tipped, the valve burst, and a powerful stream of water shot straight into Marcus's face. He stumbled backwards, soaked, coughing, blinking rapidly. "Stupid. Pipe," he growled, dripping wet and half-blind. He tried to wipe his face with his sleeve, but the water only made it worse. He looked like a wet cat. Nyala's eyes went wide, and then she laughed. It escaped her mouth before she could stop it. A light, clear sound. Real. Alive. She covered her lips quickly, shocked by her own reaction. Marcus blinked at her, then grinned. "What? I don't look heroic enough covered in water?" She laughed again, louder this time, her hand falling, away from her mouth. It was the first time she had laughed in years. The sound echoed through the small ship, soft and beautiful. For a moment, Marcus didn't move. He just looked at her. "That's a beautiful sound," he said. Nyla stopped laughing slowly, her cheeks warm. "Sorry, I shouldn't have." "Don't apologize," Marcus said, still smiling. "It's good to hear." She looked away shyly. Her heart was beating fast, but not from fear. From something new. Hope. Comfort. Even happiness? After cleaning up the mess, they sat together with dry towels and mugs of tea. The air felt lighter now. "You know," Marcus said, sipping his drink, "when I was young, my daughter used to laugh just like that." Nyla looked at him. He didn't cry, but his eyes were full of something deeper. Pain. Memory. Love. "What was her name?" she asked softly. "Lena," he said. "She liked to sing, even during air raids." Nyla nodded. "She was brave. She was everything," he said. They didn't speak for a while after that. But the silence wasn't heavy. It was gentle. Shared. Later that night, as Marcus worked on his book again, Nyla picked up a small piece of broken metal from the floor. She shaped it slowly with a file and a tool he had shown her how to use. It wasn't perfect, but when she was done, it looked like a flower. A small one. A metal flower with 6 bent petals. She walked up quietly and placed it on the table next to him. Marcus looked at it, then at her. "It's not much," she said. "It's beautiful," he replied. She smiled again. A little bigger, this time. By laughing, Nyla had taken her first real step toward life. Not survival, not obedience, but life. And Marcus? He didn't just see her as a rescued slave anymore. He saw her as someone brave enough to heal. The laughter faded, but the warmth it left inside Nyla stayed. Each day on the ship felt a little brighter now. She was no longer just surviving. She was slowly learning to live. But some scars can't be seen on the outside, and some chains are hidden deep. It happened while she was brushing her hair in the mirror, something she had only recently dared to do again. Her fingers moved gently across her skin when she felt something strange on the side of her neck. A small bump. Like a pebble under the skin. Her heart stopped. She had forgotten. No, she had forced herself to forget. But the tracker was still there. She stood frozen, her fingers still on the bump. Her breath grew sharp. Her legs shook. Old panic returned, rising like black water in her chest. Her old master could still find her, could still control her, could kill her. She didn't remember walking. But suddenly she was in front of Marcus, her voice barely a whisper. "There's something in my neck." Marcus turned to her, concerned. "What do you mean?" She pulled her hair aside and guided his hand. His fingers moved slowly, carefully. Then, he felt it too. His face changed, not with fear, but with deep focus. "A tracker," he said. Nyla nodded. "It explodes if I try to escape a system, or if someone presses a remote." Marcus didn't speak for a few seconds. Then he looked her straight in the eyes. "We'll get it out." Her eyes widened. "You can't. If you make a mistake, I won't. But it's connected to my spine. If you cut wrong, I won't. His voice was steady like a mountain, unshaken. Still, Nyala trembled. Why would you risk that for me? He walked to the wall, opened a cabinet, and pulled out a small surgical kit. Tools that looked clean but sharp. He placed them carefully on the table. Then he said quietly, because no one ever risked anything for you, and that's not right. Nyala stared at the tools. Her hands were cold, her knees weak. I'm scared, she whispered. Marcus nodded. So am I. And that made all the difference. He wasn't pretending to be a hero. He was just choosing to do the right thing, even though it scared him too. He helped her sit in the chair and tilted her head gently. You can say no, he said. She didn't. Because, for the first time in her life, she trusted someone. The ship lights dimmed. The tools glinted under a small beam. He worked slowly, carefully. Every movement was precise. He spoke softly while he worked. About Earth's oceans, about birds that could sing in two tones, about his daughter's love for painting. He talked so she wouldn't panic, and she listened, because his voice kept the fear away. Then, a tiny click. The tool in his hand stopped, moving. He held up the chip between his fingers, a tiny black device no larger than a seed. Nyala gasped. It was out. No alarms, no pain, no death. Just a quiet chip lying on the table. She felt the spot on her neck, nothing but a small patch of soreness. I'll crush it, Marcus said, walking to the back. He placed the chip between two metal plates and slammed them down. A sharp crack echoed. It was gone. The chain that lived under her skin was broken. Nyala looked at her hands, then at him. Her voice trembled. You saved my life again. Marcus looked tired but calm. No, this time, you let me. She didn't understand at first, but later that night as she sat alone in her small room, she cried. Not from pain, but from relief. For the first time in her life, no one could track her. No one could claim her. She was hers again. And Marcus? He wasn't just the man who saved her. He was the first person who ever made her feel safe. For the first time in her life, Nyala slept without fear. No chains, no watchers, no pain waiting in the dark. When she woke up, the air on the ship felt different, calmer, almost peaceful. She made tea and sat near the front window watching stars drift by. Her fingers traced the small scar on her neck. The tracker was gone, truly gone. She was finally free. Or so she thought. Marcus was running a scan on the ship's systems when a sharp ping echoed through the control panel. His eyes narrowed. Someone's ship just entered orbit. Nyala looked up. What kind of ship? He typed quickly. The screen flashed red. Marcus didn't answer. Instead, he stood and grabbed his coat. His calm face had changed. Now it was tight, focused. Stay inside, he said. But Nyala already knew. She could feel it in her bones. He had found her. Her old master. Outside the ship, the sky above the landing zone lit up as a dark silver cruiser descended. Its wings hissed steam into the air. 3 armored guards stepped out first, faces hidden behind metal helmets. Then came him. Tall, thin, his eyes burning with cruel pride. A walking shadow from her past. Vargon, the alien slave master. He didn't even glance at Marcus first. His cold eyes searched the ship entrance, waiting for her. Marcus stepped forward. You're trespassing. Vargon laughed, smooth and sharp. She's my property. That contract doesn't end just because you broke a toy in her neck. She's free now. No, human, Vargon said, smiling like a blade. She was stolen, and I've come to take her back. Marcus didn't move. You'll leave this place now. Vargon's guards raised their weapons. Or what? He said. Marcus slowly reached for his belt, Not for a weapon, but for a small remote. You want to know what happens? He said quietly. If I press this? The guards hesitated. You think you're the only one with tricks? Marcus continued. I've wired this landing zone with charge mines. One press and none of us walk away. Vargan's smile vanished. For a few seconds the air stood still. Then, a voice rang out. I'm not your property. Everyone turned. Nyla stood at the top of the ramp. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was strong. You used me. Hurt me. Sold me like I was a thing. But I'm not a thing anymore. Vargan stepped forward. Quiet girl, you think this human will protect you forever? No, she said. I'll protect myself now. She walked down slowly and stood beside Marcus. Not behind him. Beside him. Vargan's lip curled. I could crush you both. I have ships, weapons, and yet you had to come yourself, Marcus said, cutting him off. Because you know what's really happening here. Vargan didn't reply. You're losing control, Marcus added. She chose to stand. That scares you. Silence. Vargan's hand twitched, but then he hissed something in his own language. His guard stepped back. This isn't over, human, he growled. When your ship breaks down or you run out of allies, she'll still be nothing. No, Marcus said, locking eyes with him. She'll be free. Vargan turned and walked away, each step like thunder. The ship's engines roared, and within moments he was gone, but the echo of fear still lingered. Marcus turned to Nyala. You didn't have to come out. I did, she said, because I'm not running anymore. He looked at her, and, for the first time, he didn't see a rescued slave. He saw a fighter. He saw someone choosing to live. The stars were quiet again. The hum of Vargan's ship had long faded into the dark sky, but the echo of his voice still lived in the air. Nyla sat at the edge of the ramp, her legs hanging off, staring at the blackness beyond. Her fingers trembled, not from fear, but from everything that had happened. She had stood up to him. She had used her voice, and Marcus had stood beside her. She didn't know what she was feeling, not exactly. It was too much. Relief, fear, strength, sadness, and something else she hadn't felt in years. Belonging. Marcus walked up slowly behind her, holding 2 cups of hot tea. He handed her one without a word and sat beside her. They watched the stars, together like 2 people who had survived something ancient and cruel. After a long silence, Nyala asked softly, Why did you really save me, Marcus? He didn't answer right away. She glanced at him. His face was calm, but his eyes were far away, like he was watching something in the past. He took a slow sip of tea, then spoke. Back on Earth, there was a little girl who always wore yellow shoes. She used to follow me around the yard, holding her tiny toy spaceship. She said she wanted to fly to the stars with me someday. Nyala's heart thumped. That was your daughter? She asked. He nodded. Lena. His voice was steady, but it carried weight. Each word felt like it had been held back for years. She was taken when she was 10. The city was under attack. I was too far away. By the time I got to her, she was gone. Sold off-world. I searched every system I could reach, spent everything I had. Years passed and I found nothing. His voice faded for a second. I never got to save her. Nyala didn't speak. Her chest felt heavy. Marcus looked at her, eyes clear now. But then I saw you, standing there in chains, afraid, alone, just like she must have been. He paused. I couldn't leave you. I don't know if I saved you, Nyala, or if I was trying to save a part of her. But the moment I saw you, I couldn't walk away. Nyala swallowed hard. Tears rolled silently down her cheeks. But I'm not her, she whispered. I know, Marcus said softly. You're you, and that's enough. That broke something inside her, not in a bad way, but like a wall crumbling, a weight falling. Something inside her chest cracked open, and light rushed in. She cried. But these weren't the same tears she'd cried as a slave. These were tears of release, of truth, of finally knowing why. She leaned forward and hugged him. At first, she was unsure, but he didn't pull away. His arms came around her gently, like he'd been waiting years to hold someone safe again. That night, the ship didn't move. It stayed parked under the stars, like even the universe knew this moment needed stillness. In the days that followed, something changed between them. Not with words, but in the way they worked together, in the way they shared meals, in the way they sometimes sat in silence and still understood each other. Nyala had always felt small, powerless. Now, she felt seen. Marcus never treated her like she was broken. He let her rebuild herself, piece by piece, on her own terms. One evening, she found an old trunk hidden in the storage room. Inside were photos, real printed ones, of Earth, of his home, and of a small girl with yellow shoes. She looked like light. Nyala stared at that picture for a long time. Then she made a choice. Weeks later, they arrived at a planet called Arvin's Reach, a quiet outpost on the edge of the Orion Line. A peaceful place. No traders, no slavers, just quiet people trying to live simple lives. Marcus helped repair the colony's broken water system. Nyala worked with children, teaching them how to fix small machines. She was good at it. One of the little girls asked her one day, "Are you a real engineer?" Nyala smiled. "I'm learning." The girl beamed. "I want to be like you." That night, Nyala sat under a tree watching fireflies rise into the night sky. Marcus joined her. "I saw you with those kids," he said. "You were good with them." "They remind me that I'm not afraid anymore," she said. She turned to him. "You didn't save me just once, Marcus. You saved me every day. Every time you let me choose. Every time you didn't ask for anything, you gave me the freedom to be someone I never thought I could be." He smiled. "You did the hard part." "No," she said. "You did. You loved a girl you didn't know just because it was the right thing. And now, I think I finally understand why." She reached into her bag and pulled something out. The metal flower she made long ago. "I never got to thank you properly," she said, placing it in his hand. "So this is for Lena, and for you." Marcus looked at the flower, and for the first time, his eyes filled with tears. He didn't try to hide them, and neither did she. They sat together for a long time. Two souls once lost in the galaxy, now found in each other's presence. No chains, no lies, no fear. Just two people who had survived and learned how to live again.